lands. So as you see, Team Nemesis cannot play Mantis, Mantis, Loki, Human Torch, or Emma. Opposite side for Sentinels, same exact thing. However, the protect, we'll see what happens as we get a little bit of a perspective on both spawn doors. Going to be starting out on the waterfall map here on Krakoa as we get another little view of the boy. I love getting the perspective. Those little guys around the map. It's always fun. But Sentinels rocking out with that Iron Man alongside a triple Strategist composition. They love playing triple Strategist, and I think it is good right now from what we've seen ship.
Yeah, I think triple, as long as you got the Ultron, right? Ultron, just so much burst damage, and we will see success here. I'm sure Nectar, last time I had eyes on Nectar, 30-1 with Ultron. Incredible positioning. When you have the least of times of being KO'd, it's all about where you're stationed, and that's everything at this level of play. Mellow on height. Mellow, a mean Psylocke as well. One of the shining stars of this team, trying to get that dance of the butterfly early, right? Amazing on the Iron Man. Saw the switch on Iron Man and Clintar last time with this matchup, so that is interesting. Like we said, matchup last time went in the favor of Sentinels 2-0. Mellow on the off angle here. There are a lot of pressure as Scatter finds Amazing out of the sky.
Yeah, huge pick on the ride. They're trying to sustain build up towards that Ultron ultimate, but they just cannot right now. Mellow perfectly timed with that dive. Also has that Snowflake Amadian also on the Nectar. And this is probably the best round, I think, for this Hella comp. As you can find those picks, you can kind of play in the open. Sentinels, they wanted to build ultimate quick there. You know, you had the team up as well with the Ultron to give a little bit more healing towards that hero. But Amazing is going to swap over to that Bucky for the counter dive. We'll see if that's the adjustment that pans out for them. I mean, we saw on the other side, 100 Thieves tried something similar versus FlyQuest, but FlyQuest is also running triple on their side. Team Nemesis are just doing a typical 2-2-2.
Yeah, Nemesis is very close to a 6 stack of ultimates. Out goes the Meteor from Scatter. Does not connect Nectar, launching the Ultron's Rage as well. As that is out, is that find value? No. And the team is now pressing forward with the dance floor. Sentinels just trying to get this space back and own the point. Not able to do so yet. 45% on for Nemesis. Does the Meteor land? Great iframe there with the Goddess in the sky. Starting to put a ton of damage out. Will they be able to follow up? Not quite yet. More damage from Amadian. Like we said, great iframe to avoid the Meteor M, putting some damage onto the Vanguard line of Sentinels.
Back and forth. Amadian eventually going to go to Techie. Nice shot from him. Here comes the Kraken impact. Frozen. What a freeze, by the way. But didn't end up mattering. Just slowed him down temporarily as it looks like Sentinels as a unit walked up with that freedom charge. Found the eliminations required, and Team Nemesis are sent back to spawn.
I'm not upset with that if I'm Team Nemesis. Forced out nearly every ultimate. Obviously, Ultron getting that all back incredibly quickly. Ready again almost in the next fight. But Nemesis, 75% in the first take. And now they're going to be roughly even on ults besides that Ultron, as discussed. So fight's now pretty neutral. We'll see how this works for them. But if they get that ult advantage and win one more fight, it's a teleport play away from a W.
One teleport away as well, for sure. And now Sentinels just going to play it slow. Give up a little bit of that space top left high ground as Nemesis. They're trying to like group around, right? It's sort of easy to tank these flank angles like Prost mentioned. So Sentinels sort of forced to group up as a unit, and now here comes that dive.
Yeah, Mellow consistently on off angles. Something to learn if you're playing Duelist and Ladder. Scatter on a Crimzo, and nice early find again by Scatter. Back-to-back in these fights. Meteor M did not find any purchase. Nectar trying to battle back from this Bond. The Bond still going to stay up as Scatter finds another. Mellow onto Nectar. Craze onto Amazing. And Nemesis looking like a fresh new team here. About at 90. Working their way to 90%. And Sentinels are going to have to teleport in with Techie.
They are. I mean, right now, it's looking like the only way to really counter the dive with a triple strategist composition is with the Mantis to kind of run around, disengage. Also with another fantastic strategist ultimate. Unfortunately, Ultron's ult, not enough to live here. Here comes an ultimate as well. Dance the Butterflies from Mellow as the portal comes out. A lot of damage coming through on the Sentinels towards the objective.
Yeah, Mellow, great damage there, but it does get negated by the crystals, getting run at by Cap. Cap, just a very difficult hero to drop when cooldowns are off in the sky. Onto that Cap, as discussed, dashes right back into the dance floor. Team is trying to group now. Once again, Nemesis holding at 99%, armed and dangerous. Here comes the Kraken impact. Will they be able to find anything? It is reset as Dinks goes down, and that's the key. If you can hit a ton, as long as anyone hits that threshold, they will get KO. Down go 2 as Amazing finds another, but no reset there. But will they get the point? They're holding on to the point there.
I mean, they definitely could have used it, but luckily Ricky was in that spot towards the left side. And right now, Sentinels are going to reclaim the objective. Like you said, Shib, they just kind of got separated, got smoked by Amazing in that ultimate, and right now Sentinels are sitting pretty on the objective, but they have to worry on their defense now as they only have that Ultron ult ready to go. Team Nemesis again are going to do that surround play they did previously, and in the neutral, I would say that definitely has an edge. We saw over in EMEA, VP did very well with the Mantis, with the triple res, with the Atom. Felt like it was easier to sustain with that composition, at least with the Ultron, Luna, and the Loki. It's definitely hard to find those eliminations with the damage boost and stuff to deal with people like Mello and Kraz just constantly diving on you.
Yeah, I think I still got to give some credit. Sentinels winning that fight, building up an ultimate charge. It was a testament to patience. They did not stress over the fact that the point was still capped by Nemesis. Sentinels waiting it out and then turning around. Mello once again trying to find this early pick. A ton of value as the damage is pouring. Roughly 80% there to ultimate. Nectar getting eaten by Meteor M, not able to weave that under that door. And Aramori finds Craze early, and this could be good for Sentinels now up in numbers. Aramori popping that ultimate. Out goes the bond to match. Amazing holding on with Crimzo, and it's alt advantage for Sentinels. Will they be able to hold this down and take the first map here as Amazing is ready? Not able to get anything just yet. Out goes that. Oh, Dance the Butterfly. Mello, I believe, did not find any value there either. Did force out some cooldowns, but not enough to get a pick. As we see, oh, the Eye of Agamotto here. Oh, gets canceled.
Oh, yeah, what a cancel there onto that Eye of Agamotto there. And now Sentinels playing around their dance floor, able to find a Madian as well. Goes down the Hella player. That's so much damage removed. Right now, Sentinels were trying to get eliminations through those shield cutoffs, but could not from Techie. It was really well avoided. But right now, Dinks is chased down, smoked by Techie, and all of Sentinels are just on this objective. Team Nemesis, they have to rely on a portal from a Madian last second, but it's not there. Sentinels win round number 1 on Krakoa. Healing strategist on his team. Right now, Sentinels looking really damn good. Team Nemesis, though, it's close.
Yeah, and the advantage of using that portal early there by Techie on Sentinels is that it's ready again. 3-minute cooldown, ready for the start of this fight. Both teams are doing it. Almost forced him back into the other spawn. I believe it did. That's just some meta placement right there. Just knowing where it might go. And Techie does have that eye off the rip. We got to see if Scatter can push forward past the shield. And there it is. Waiting out the cooldowns. Does get a few. Can they follow up on it? On to Craze. And Craze is able to escape. Wow, just a great play by the strategist to keep him up in that fight. Did not expect that. Well played.
No, I didn't expect that either. And now Sentinels on the objective, forcing away Nemesis. Mello gone out of the fight. Not ideal considering the Dance of the Butterflies will really help him here. Oh, what a freeze from the back line. On the other side from Sentinels, Karova hits that freeze on the Eye of Agamotto in the sky, or rather Techie had his Eye of Agamotto frozen, I think, and then now here comes Amazing on the backside. Dink's gonna go down to the Kraken impact. A little bit of support here now as they bought time for Mello to come back, but this is so much damage Kraken impact, forcing a Hella ultimate in the sky.
Yeah, one thing you may notice at this level of play is how long it takes to get the point off the rip in these fights. These teams are so skilled and talented and such good understanding of cooldowns. But as we say that, it looks like Sentinels will be taking the beginning of this point, as it has not started at all on either side, and forcing Team Nemesis back to the spawn door.
Sent back right now, slowing down the game a little bit. His team Sentinels right now do have that Eye of Agamotto ready. Same thing with the side of Nemesis, but they'll be able to surround Sentinels right now, who are stacking as a unit, right? You do have some members in terms of Crimzo looking around the map, trying to dive onto a Madian, make sure he's sort of out of position. Not a lot of sustain for him because he doesn't have that triple strategist that Amazing does have to support him.
Yeah, it's been difficult to see all these strange alts be canceled when we just came from a map where strange alts were super impactful early on there. So you're seeing all the ability of this backline to make strange not be able to get that eye off. And we're going to initiate again on the side of Nemesis with Craze trying to keep the team up with that freedom charge. It is essentially another strategist ultimate as it's matched right back. Eye of Agamotto goes out, finds value this time. Can they get focused? They do. Nice pick there on Amazing, using that shield like we were talking about before. Strange shield can block healing from things like Luna Snow. So great idea, not able to find value, but good thought process as they press again. It looks like Nemesis maybe taking this point right back.
Take it back. Strategist also now caught out on the backside, have to take a portal to their team. Nobody else really chasing except it looks like the Captain America, as Kraz went down actually because he took that portal. So it was the portal of doom, the portal of demise for it looks like him. But Crimzo also gets traded. So both Captain Americas kind of struggling at the moment.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of value with Cap over these last few days. Seems like he is taking a place back in the front of the meta, at least with how the pros are playing him. But in these last few games, at least, it has looked a little more difficult to get value. But his job is just to distract. Up in the sky, we go again. Not able to find anything with a Medium there. Keeping the shots up on height. Here goes, what do you know? Techie tried to go up and frozen immediately there. Well done by Ricky.
Good freeze indeed. Here comes Mel on the backside as well. Into, oh my goodness, Aramori going down in that Fate of the Worlds. Here comes Yamamoto. Does connect on Nectar as well. So right now, Nemesis, they're putting themselves in a pretty big lead as Amazing's ultimate not going to connect onto anybody else. Right now, they're sent back to the spawn again. Team Nemesis played that phenomenally around Scatter with his Eye of Agamotto and Dinks with the Cloak and Dagger Eternal Bond. So Sentinels trying to figure things out. They're over to the Cloak and Dagger himself as we take a look into the fireworks. July 4th coming up, Shun Shib. By the way, just want to point that out.
Yeah, that could have been a very different story if Techie got that ult off, right? So it goes to show you the small little things that you may not see in the stat lines. That freeze right there from Ricky completely could have changed that fight. Just that freeze alone onto Techie, who is now forced to switch heroes and lose a little bit of ultimate charge there. So a ton of value on stuff that won't be on the scoreboard, and that's why the scoreboard doesn't tell the story. Don't get lost in that. Amadian taking out Nectar here as Nemesis is now playing hyper aggro, and they want this to be a 1-1, pushing to 0.3 on domination. And Nemesis is really showing up with an ult advantage here on the side of Ricky.
And walking up, like you said, with that ult advantage, but we'll have to worry about Techie and Crimzo trying to block off those heals. Scatter as well, building up another Eye of Agamotto. He's been big before. Sentinels don't have that to match.
Crimzo going directly onto that off angle to try to keep the team healthy. Tries to get Strange. Nice play as Krakoa cleans that up onto Scatter. Up in the sky we go again. Amadian trying to find value there with that Goddess of Death. Not able to get too much, and he gets picked off by Nectar. Nectar playing a very strong role now on Sentinels. Has been one of the newer additions to the starting roster. Is playing very strong here, but like we said, this is in the favor of Nemesis so far. Down one though. Now it's in the favor of Nemesis, who turned this around. The 5v6, and now are ahead. Ultimate out for Krakoa. Amazing and Nectar both holding on, but Nectar is down. Krakoa finds Pickett, and so does Amazing, even though down in numbers. Turning this back again, Sentinels. Will Nemesis, no, they use Mello. Gonna pop that ult, take out Techie. Scatter holding on as there's only one ult there.
Oh no! Sentinels didn't touch, no? Or was that... Yes, yeah. Oh my god, they didn't touch. He's able to find those eliminations, able to go with those blasters, but unfortunately for him, he's just not been able to kind of synergize with the team right now. We'll see what happens on this upcoming one. I mean, he was on the Ultron earlier and kind of was a very good peel artist for Team Sentinels. But right now, Nectar trying to go for these sort of combination dives with Crimzo on the Psylocke. Wasn't really working out. Now he's over to that Star-Lord. He does have ultimate ready to go.
Yeah, that Galactic Legend can be so valuable, especially with no strategist ultimates up. So here we go, trying to find some sort of that bubble. 55 HP per second, essentially a counter ult in itself. A nice find there as Amadian goes down, puts numbers up in their advantage early on, and that's what you need to do right now, Nectar. So good play, aggressive again, but what do you know? We're going to stick inside that bubble and stay healthy. Scatter tries to find one. Amazing turns that right back, and Mello with a pick onto Nectar. It's just back and forth. These teams so strong.
Yeah, I mean, good pick off there from Mello, and I've been, like I've mentioned earlier, very impressed with this man in terms of his improvement, or their improvement right now for this team. Team Nemesis, Mello, and them need to kind of come back together around Kraz. Does have that freedom charge. Same thing with Crimzo on his side, so it's even across the board. Gonna have to worry about that Eye of Agamotto, but it should keep everybody healthy in terms of having that freedom charge. So more than likely, Techie's gonna have to hold on to his ultimate mid-fight, whereas Scatter, I think, can go for it whenever he wants.
Cap can play so aggro and aggressive, and it's so fun to watch as you see him just trying to annoy the backline in the off angle. Spin again by Nectar, a combination that is very strong. That bubble with the spin helps get that Galactic Legend back really quickly. Have eyes on that in the future, but you can't right now because Nectar goes down. Amazing onto Scatter, though. Traded once more. 5v5. Amazing make that 2. Crimzo going to clean that up as Ricky goes down. Amazing trying to find another reset, not able to do so. Up in the sky goes the Goddess of Death. A ton of damage out, but right back into the crystals. Great placement there. Well done by the side of Sentinels as Aramori pops crystals and then copies up. Amazing finds Amadian, and they are holding on to this point.
Yeah, Portal now coming back in from Scatter, but down a lot of his team. Gonna have to play heavily around this Luna Snow on the backside of the point, but oh gee, one shot from Amazing, he's just gone. Goodbye, Kraz as well. And this is looking pretty much wraps for Nemesis. I mean, they don't have Portal, they won't have that for the retouch. They do have ultimates at the very least, and Sentinels, they're struggling keeping Nectar alive. I know that he's just kind of meant as like a distraction whenever he kind of goes in, dashes around, forces focus away. A little bit of a peek, by the way, strategy on the left side. That's the big brain gameplay behind Sentinels. It's that little Groot boy. Now Nemesis now coming through in the choke point, having ultimates ready to go. They do have strategist ults, at least. Sentinels have nothing. So if they mess this up, I mean, it might be pretty much over for Team Nemesis.
Yeah, I see Sentinels really on top right now in this map, no doubt about it. But like you said, ultimate advantage here, big ults, by the way. And by this Galactic Legend should be matched here by the dance floor. It is. Amadian finds Crimson early, and that's huge for Team Nemesis. Ayavagamoto finds a few. Will they get more value? No one goes down. Scatter actually going to take out Krakoa, on that pick. Does start building up the E charge here. 84 does a lot of damage. Remember, recently in that patch, it has no damage fall off, so feel free to release it at any range to get max damage, and it especially pairs well with that ultimate where you can hit the soul and clean up. So great damage outsourced there, great work there, by Nemesis, who just ran them back. But once again, Sentinels now have ult advantage and are at 99%.
Yep, trading 1 for 2 was Team Sentinels out there, and they can delay for a while. 4 more ultimates through Dinks, through Kraz as well. And same thing for Sentinels, right? They have Aramori, they have Krakoa, so they're going to hope to find some eliminations with the Amazing and his ultimate. Kraken Impact could go big because you can get eliminations even through Shredder's ultimates with it.
Queues for days. Now let's see who falls. Ricky taking out Amazing early is a massive start here for Nemesis, up in numbers, but here comes the ultimates matched right back. Eternal Bond on both sides. Will the dunk, good placement. As Techie from downtown goes. Dinks, Amadian falls, Ricky falls, Crimzo, Aramori on the scatter, and everybody on the side of Sentinels is finding one, and that may be enough unless they can really dance here. No, they cannot, and that should be it unless this portal comes through, which I don't think will happen. Just going to be a staggered touch, and they're gonna need a miracle here, but I believe it's over as Sentinels take game 1.
Yeah, what a map. And
offense until point 3, but this map, I love to see it. Teams are clearly loving it as it's been selected a ton here in this tournament. But you look over,
touched this time. A lot of people wondering why Mantis is even banned in the first place. It's for this Team Nemesis running that triple strategist composition. Mantis, Adam Warlock.
Yeah,
I mean, the dagger and the sword.
Right out of Sentinel's book, right? I mean, good, strong defense here, holding on tight. This is definitely a very defensible position, as we mentioned, trying to keep him in the door. A lot of the time, we'll see triple Vanguard off the rip here, holding him at the door, but deciding to hold back a little farther. So definitely a different strategy than we've seen in the past here. Amazing. Back on that Bucky. Good pull. As down goes Amadian and Craze as Nectar finds one. And oh, the combination of Wolverine into Groot is a terrifying thing if you don't make that switch to Invis. So Nectar, a very strong Wolves, something we haven't seen yet in this series. Good tackle out of the sky onto Scatter. Like clay shooting. Bang, down goes Scatter, and followed up by Amazing.
Yeah, excellent decision making by Nectar, positioning as well. Team Nemesis have to react to it with the thing. So they're just going to kind of run towards Sentinels. As long as Sentinels can sort of live whenever that soul bond is committed, whenever, you know, shots come through from a fantastic shot as Mellow on Adam Warlock, that's always going to be something to look for. But oh no, he does it again.
Wow, and this is insane. These Wolverine plays are disgusting. Nectar finds Mellow, but now we get that res. Amadian comes back. Amazing, taking out Ricky. Will Ricky res up? It's the whole point here of this Guardians comp. There is that res. Numbers haven't changed yet. Amazing in the sky with the dunk. Does not land on very many. Good teleport out. Great escape there, and that's where the advantage of these teleports come into play. Your knowledge of where they go. Nectar onto Ricky, though, again with a pick, but the passives pop. Immediately gets followed up on. Tackles right back into the heel. Great tackle again to fly back into the dance floor. Down goes Craze as Crimzo finds one. Mellow onto Amazing. Numbers still in Sentinel's favor, I believe, as the reses are all popped. And Karova finishes up Amadian. Techie onto Mellow, and that's point 1.
Point 1 pretty quick by Team Sentinels, and I think for Team Nemesis, we see teams play Human Torch alongside this instead of the Star-Lord, even though you don't have that res anymore. Human Torch banned in this matchup, so we'll see what he changes to something else. They actually just full swap, go over to the Storm, even give up Soul Resurgence. They just gave up ultimates in terms of Ricky giving up the Mantis ult to swap over to that Luna Snow, so they just give up on that composition, triple res comp. Instead of playing some sort of Mantis, you know, full dive composition, they just opt out of it. Sentinels fine with that, I imagine.
Yeah, I think the goal here is to try to put some damage into those group walls and find a way around this. I mean, we talk about their versatility, able to play a ton here, and I think it's better to do that switch early. Crimzo with the strangling prison, countered right back by Amazing, says not in my house, turns that on the scatter, but Mello finds Krakoa in the back line too. Mello, a huge ultimate here, down goes Aramori, Nectar, and Techie, and Crimzo is a 5-piece. Mello, built different, tries to clean up and get 6.
Yeah, and also got tracked down too by Mating coming back. I mean, what a play by Mello with that ultimate and then with the follow-up. This guy, an absolute star player for Team Nemesis, came through in the clutch when Rai was KOing his entire backline. It was really tough for Team Nemesis to kind of deal with Rai, but not when you have Mello kind of popping off with that Storm ultimate, then the follow-through afterwards. Amazing work from the Storm player out of Team Nemesis. We'll see if they can keep it up.
Yeah, Ricky holding on to alt here. We do have Aramori with the copy, so should see the dance floor likely on both sides. And Techie going to hold on to that Meteor M. Could help cancel some of that out. I think it's a good switch here by Team Nemesis. Really shifting up the comp. We talked about it being a difficult thing to see, but it's clearly working, at least so far. Tactical back in. Techie on to Mello. Last stand, not able to get too much as the dance floor does get popped. And Amadian using that last stand. Crazemang finding Nectar, turning this back, trying to shut down the Wolverine by playing some counters with the Thing and that bubble by Magneto. Good damage out, ults pop, but now advantage goes to the side of Sentinels, who have 2 ready, almost 3 with Rai Amazing.
Yeah, right now, Sentinels trying to maintain the momentum that they had earlier, get it back rather, and now here comes the Meteor M. Slam dunk onto the back line. Bull strategist removed from the side of Team Nemesis. They have to regroup, and you know, right now, the believers in the chat room definitely seeing their team kind of pop off. 76% of people in the chat voted for Sentinels with their channel points to win the series, to win this next map rather. Nemesis only having 24%, so large discrepancy in terms of fan favor for Sentinels right now.
Yeah, you got Techie just raining down. You saw the patience there with those left clicks. When you're playing Magneto, don't hold down the trigger. It's very difficult to force hits when you're not being patient. Be very patient with that left click. You saw a 3-piece there just due to raw understanding and patience. That left click it can do a ton of damage, especially if followed up by a right. So you got to be calm, cool, and collected. Do not hold that trigger down. Rai Amazing holding on to this Kraken impact could have a ton of value, but ultimate advantage on side Nemesis. Out goes this Hurricane, which will pull out a ton, and Rai Amazing goes down quickly. Well done by Ricky to follow up there, as Rai Amazing not able to get anything or reset once with the Kraken impact. Here goes the cloak. Mello onto Krakoa. Strong play by Nemesis now, showcasing that Storm is still very much in conversation for a top duelist. Amadian onto Crimzo. Scatter onto Aramori, and that's going to be a reset for Sentinels, who now are still down in alt advantage on point 3.
Yeah, spawns are right here, so Mello is just sitting trying to get out that damage. I imagine Rai wants that play back. Went a little bit too far forward, could have been saved by Krakoa. Meanwhile, Nectar with a huge pickoff and just gets traded on the backside, so Mello down, Amadian able to find him.
Yeah, here comes the next fight. Like I said, ult advantage on the side of Nemesis, just slightly. Clobbering timeout. Does it clobber, though? Not much. Amadian just raining, forcing forward. Bubble goes out a little early, but they are playing great around that positioning, playing around that natural cover. You'll see that at this level of play a ton. They do not overextend and find themselves out in the open. They're always playing around walls. And there goes the Meteor M slightly after. Almost more value as all the cooldowns are used. Rai Amazing, Crimzo, Techie sweeping everyone as the Sentinels clean up Mello to finish off the team. And there goes Mello. Wow, Sentinels playing patiently and turning that right back at Team Nemesis.
Yep, holding this angle as well, just hiding around the corner. Third person peeking, you know, that's kind of what you want to do. That's the big skill in this game, is being able to go back and forth between cover whenever you have right side peeks and constantly just abuse the third person camera that Marvel Rivals presents you with. Now that dive comes in, Crimzo on the Thing, like you mentioned, pulls in that Punisher. That's annoying to deal with. Nemesis are reacting, however.
Yeah, and now Nemesis holding on to the Meteor M here. Do have that Eternal Bond and the Hurricane. This Hurricane always should be used almost off cooldown. It forces out everything. As you see, crystals go out, dance floor goes out. Everybody just trying to battle back, and Scatter plays off that. Now that the cooldowns are down, Scatter finds one at Krakoa, and then they all start falling. The Jenga pieces. Scatter gets another Amadian onto Aramori, and the whole team is swept here. But now Sentinels are going to have that last stand and the Aramori copy for this next fight. But does it battle back between the Thing's clobbering time and the Eternal Bond? Which gets more value? 1 minute on the clock.
We'll have to see. Here comes the throw again. I feel like Sentinels aren't reacting very well to the Storm ultimate, but you know who's not reacting well to the Wolverine? Actually, never mind. They are reacting well to the Wolverine. On the backside, they're able to go with the clobbering time, also commit Amadian with that final judgment, get the eliminations. But I feel like for the side of Sentinels, they're not really doing a great job dealing with the Storm, right? Dealing with the Punisher. We see a lot of teams kind of adapt and change, but it seems like even with their dance floor, even with the fate of the worlds, they tend to fall to Team Nemesis, whereas on the other side of the bracket, I think FlyQuest was reacting well to comps like this.
Yeah, I think Sentinels did a good job, at least with patience there. I'm with you that that was a difficult watch, but Sentinels, what they're doing here now is they're committing everything into this final fight. Out goes clobbering time by the side of Crimzo. Do they follow up? They walk back together. Dance floor is popped here by Ricky. Team's keeping the pressure on. The haymakers for days. Down goes Scatter. Nice work here by Crimzo on the Thing. Making that switch over to the Thing has been valuable, and here comes the Hurricane. Will it find a pick? It does. At least it burns the passive of Wolverine. The team's forced to reset. Mellow going to drop back with the team, and it is a very tough fight. Odds are on the side of Sentinels for this fight so far. Ricky trying to build up his claws at 100% now, dealing a ton of HP with that overall HP takedown. Down goes another. The Hurricane again. Amazing this time coming in and sweeping. Down goes two. Amazing. Is that enough? Techie throws out the Meteor Ram. It lands, but it doesn't finish up Ricky, and they are very close to ending this. They do. Sentinels with all 3 points.
That is so impressive.
Hits on both sides, but now this is where I was thinking I'd see it. The Sentinels are playing very aggressive on the hold, up very tight. Nectar trying to get a tackle early. They do, as Nectar finds Scatter, brings it right towards the back line. Will they find value on the pick? Out goes Bubble. Scatter, great positioning. Not able to even break Bubble there, but good idea by Nectar on the tackle. They are forced to retreat here, not able to hold that front spot for long, as they aren't running that group.
Yeah, this is what we would have wanted to see out of 100 Thieves if you were a fan of them, right? Able to live these pulls that come through from Nectar. Now you could call that on Sentinels, which, by the way, they just walk in and everybody falls over on Team Sentinels. Yet again, man, these teams feel so brawly, Shiv, compared to the matchups we saw in FlyQuest versus 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Storm may be considered more of a poke hero, but you're right. When it comes to these brawl comps playing as a unit and walking in together, Storm with that damage and speed boost, and also just the natural AoE damage from that damage boost form, which is constantly zapping everyone in that circle around her. So you have to play close, you have to play aggressive and play natural cover while being almost on top of the enemy team. So yeah, more of a brawly hero secretly, although the kit may lend itself to look more poke. And here comes Hurricanes very soon. Out goes the dance floor. Aramori copies up. Sentinels kind of on their heels right now as Team Nemesis is up in ultimates.
Yeah, copy came through like you mentioned. Now here's Karova sitting on the back, trying not to go down to the Meteor M. Oh, nice evasion of it, but they have to make it back to the objective to heal themselves. Oh, the portal to dodge the Meteor M. Are you kidding me? From the side of Mellow.
That was genius. Play right on the portal. Use it as an iframe. Gorgeous play again. Mellow now coming in with the Hurricane. Scatter finds Nectar early. This is going to go back towards Nemesis for this fight. Ults out. Amadian takes out Crimzo. Crazebang onto Techie, and that should be enough as they take point one.
Excellent phase from Team Nemesis to close out there. The portal from Mellow. Unfortunately, Meteor M not going to connect from Techie. And right now, Sentinels are on the back foot, right? They were not able to deal with Amadian with that final judgment with the follow-up from the Hurricane. And right now, Team Nemesis, they're pushing forward. I really wonder what it is that results in so many of these players getting picked someone early, positioning, whatever it may be. It's happening again. Like, I don't know. It feels weird that these players are just going down before the fight even starts, similar to what we saw 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest. I feel like that never happened.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's difficult to comprehend why it's happening, but it has been relatively consistent. A lot of these fights were due to a Wolverine tackle initially, but now we're seeing it just from raw damage at range. With the Punisher, with Storm's damage boost, it could be something along the lines of teams aren't expecting that damage boost. Nectar finding 3 there with a mean last stand as the team sweeps virtually everyone. Down goes all 6. And Sentinels with a huge ultimate there from Nectar, who plays one of the strongest Wolverines. Wolverine, get him out of here in the ban phase if he's against me. I'm terrified of this character.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how gross Wolverine is. We talked Energy mentioned in the interview how disgusting Wolverine can be no matter where you are, especially on a map like this where you have so many angles to kind of come from. Team Nemesis now have to walk up, utilizing some Storm speed to kind of get back as a unit. I mean, they've been able to find picks before on Amazing. We'll see if they can do it again. I mean, Turret to build up ult charge as well, but Nectar, oh my god, gets pushed off. Nice job from Kraz to keep his team alive.
Yeah, that was a great Yancey Street to knock the tackle away. Here comes a double Hurricane. Which one is more valuable, as everyone is just in the midst of a storm? Who wins? Bubble out. Great play. Dinks, incredible ulti there to play it on the ground as he uses that bond, kind of hidden. Amazing still finds Mellow, though, as the numbers are now up for Sentinels. Out goes Scatter, not able to find anything with that Meteor M. Scatter now finds Techie, though. Amazing. We're already at 40%. Storm, one of the Storm's strongest attributes is the fact that Storm can get that ult back with piercing attacks. Those attacks pierce, so in those hallway fights, those hurricanes come back really quick. Nectar with another mean last stand onto Ricky though, and that is going to put Sentinels again up as Nectar finds another Mellow onto Amazing to make that less of an advantage. Now only up one for the side of Sentinels. Dinks now on Nectar, and now it's evened out as we get into another fight.
I mean, a little brawly for sure. I mean, that fight at the very beginning looked like a Trader Joe's fruit leather fight room. It just seemed like, you know, so many colors, so many hurricanes kind of flying out. And right now, I mean, Sentinels fortunately losing Nectar. No, Techie again finds Mellow. Where's the healing? It just feels like you mentioned, Shiv, the damage output is so much with the Storm. It's unexpected for these pros right now.
Yeah, they're just not used to it, right? That damage boost with these very pokey abilities from these heroes is finding much more value, and that's where Storm, although kind of taking a backseat in this tournament, is still incredibly strong. And Madian tries to find some damage over the last stand, not able to. Techie turns it around on Ricky though as they walk back. Crimzo onto Dinks, Krakoa, and Nectar. Two more as they just keep sweeping these teams in these fights, and we got a minute 40 left.
A minute 40 left, and you know, like you mentioned, Nemesis, I mean, they did so good first point, right? It was a excellent, you know, kind of push quick on that first objective compared to how we've seen it in the past, and now they've been slowed down to a hold. This has been about a 3-minute hold for Sentinels, who right now on the defense with this Wolverine is taking full advantage of Team Nemesis, and they're not really reacting that well. They don't have a Wolverine themselves. They have to play like a Punisher, maybe even something along the lines of Bucky could be the answer, but right now Nemesis, they have to find a pick.
We're seeing a hurricane every fight here. Amazing, forcing out a ton of cooldowns. Korova gonna use that bond. Crimzo ready with the he's gonna use clobbering time at the very end of this fight, likely, unless Nemesis sweeps all of them. And again, another team swipe as everyone goes down. Mellow trying to clean this up here as down goes Nectar, and they do get point two. What a fight again, but this is where that first point, that advantage on time, 5 minutes coming into point two, works out for them incredibly well, as you see Krakoa here taking point two.
Yeah, Dinks has been hitting some huge terror capes. That's what's giving them the eliminations, I feel like, with that vulnerability with the chains we talked about. Dinks is able to hit that so consistently because he pretty much plays so much Cloak and Dagger even before the character was considered viable. Right now, Sentinels on the last phase of the map, you know, they have to hold, but they chew so much time off the clock, at least in the streets phase.
Yeah, that's a great point. Bringing that up, the damage boost not only from Storm, but also, oh my goodness, Crimzo and Nectar down go 4, make that 5 as Scatter falls. And yeah, Sentinels, they took that last one personally, but now alt advantage on the side of Nemesis. But yeah, I did, just to return to that point, I do agree that damage boost, not only from Storm, but also from Cloak, is so threatening, and that's why these picks are happening for sure.
100%. Yeah, that can change the game, considering, you know, not a lot of Luna on the side of Sentinels, rather. So for the side of Sentinels, pick off immediately, potentially going to come through with the pulls again. For Sentinels, they've been able to win multiple fights in a row. Last stand comes through again.
Good ult there to counter from Ricky to shut that down, but that was mean, as out goes the clobbering time, and not going to get too much value here. A lot of the time you want to count to 12 when you see that dance floor start, and right at the near end at 11 you launch the clobbering so that everybody is vulnerable while they stacked on that ultimate. But good attempt there, not able to find any value, although these pros can still, you know, get picks through that ultimate just with raw focus and ladder. It's not a bad idea to count out some of these strategist ultimates so you know when to engage. Now Nemesis up ult again just by 1, and excuse me, evened out here as Amazing ready with a hurricane. Here comes the last stand. Will it find a pick? It does. Down goes Nectar early, and that's massive as Techie goes down too. Nemesis needs to keep going.
Chip, this might be like a map practice thing too, because there's that portal on the left side they could have taken, but they went on that left side, sort of the longer angle, and they couldn't disengage. They wanted to, but obviously they didn't play the best on that point of the map. But you know, from Sentinels and how they played so far, it feels like for every 3 fights they win, they lose 1. We'll see if they can win this one.
Yeah, and then you're right about that. It is map knowledge, and this was chosen here by Nemesis. Amazing with 3, and the hurricane is detrimental. 12 seconds on, finding 3 is a huge start here as Nemesis has 1 ult advantage, but will they be able to hold on for 6 seconds? They got a touch here at the end to keep this going, but this may be the end here for Nemesis on map 2. Great clobbering time. Scatter finds 3. Grazemang onto Amazing, and they do come back. Wow, the Vanguards popping off and holding on.
What a play, man. Kraz and Scatter. They're also on triple Vanguard now alongside the Storm. That might be the play. Here comes Sentinels out of the spawn. No portal block to come through. Nectar in the sky trying to find one. Building last stand. Super close to it. Krakoa also does have Cloak and Dagger all ready to go.
And here comes Mello with the Hurricane. And this could be massive if they find one. But no! Techie gets the pick through it. Nectar tries to clean up another. Down goes Dinks. And that could be the W. Nemesis using everything now. Committing fully. Amazing onto Amadian. Numbers heavily on the side of Sentinels. There goes Crazemane from Nectar. And another ultimate for Amazing to sweep the rest. And that should be enough as Sentinels take map 2.
Excellent map from both sides, but Sentinels still come out on top. Vanguard prioritization for them. Meanwhile, for Sentinels, they cannot play that Ultron, in which that they took advantage of in the first map. But
with the Punisher off the rip, using that damage reduction from Crimzo to hopefully hold on, as the whole team on Nemesis is electing to push right side heavy and go with a little more of an aggressive divey style composition with Hulk and Torch.
I mean, like the change up. Sentinels, though, going to play that counter with the thing. They know what's coming, right? And, oh, wait. Nectar just tracked down Amadian for free before he could even, what, firewall? That was insane.
Really quick, really good tracking, obviously, here, right? You have to at that point. Ultron very fast, so that's just a testament to how strong these players are on these heroes. Amazing taking this space early. Numbers up slightly in his advantage here, keeping the pressure on. And they are gonna, just kind of hold him in this corner. Hopefully, just stalling for as long as possible. This is more of an, this is a good attacking position. Holding this height. Height is always strong in shooters like this, hero shooters like this, due to the nature that you're always looking down on the head. So just instinctively get more headshots while you're holding that position. If you were always curious about height and why it's impactful. Down again goes Mello. One shot there by Nectar.
Oh my God, Nectar is just going insane. This is the tough part. This snowflake from the side of Nemesis has to be used on that Hulk, right? Because they know he takes so much damage, and that's the only way Hulk has that survivability without going to health packs. So everybody else is kind of left out to dry, right? You see that shotgun coming out, able to smoke one of the players of Team Nemesis, and then earlier on, you saw Amadian go down, right? He puts the drone on that human torch. He's trying to play around that torch for healing and also to help that dive out. But unfortunately, if Amadian doesn't get healed up, he's just kind of gone.
Friends in the audience, if you don't know, look now at this defensible position. If a team holds that top left side, it looks like you as a team should be holding this crevice in the back. It seems to play more defensible. It doesn't catch you out. So this is the counterplay. As you can see here, watch the pros play and you will learn. Sentinels, great job here on defense. Crazemane, as I'm saying that, finds Aramori early though. And this could go back in their favor, forcing out Qs across the board. Krakoa matched here with Dinks. Dance floors are now shoving them into that corner. Agamotto goes out for Scatter, and they take out Krakoa. Nice pick there. Still holding on as Nemesis now up. Amazing trades with Amadian. Mello on the Amazing right back. Out goes the Meteor. Good throw there by Techie, who just does not miss right now.
Yeah, he had to fall back to the point because he sees all the strategies here. Also, Supernova from Mello is connecting, and maybe they can come back through, but Crimzo's low, doesn't have a lot of heals. Actually goes for the copy. Invis boundary coming out now from Aramori.
Yeah, and that's going to hold a bit, but not for long. Aramori falls there, and one thing you may not note is if you fall when you're using that Loki copy with Invis, is it'll actually keep that up.
Yeah, that was a nice boot, by the way, as well from Mello. Slammed down on, but I feel like both teams kind of are struggling with disengaging. We saw in the last series what really strong disengages does, right? We've seen that out of FlyQuest. Meanwhile, Nectar trying to run away, can't really escape. Human Torch just flying at you like a missile, and right now Nemesis just getting that cart space the whole time. I would like to see both teams kind of fix up their disengages, but right now in the neutral, Nemesis taking advantage of Sentinels resetting both times, and Mello looking so good on Human Torch.
Yeah, Torch is such a problem here. Keeping this space and holding them in is, that if you put those auras on the ground and you land on it, you can chunk through strategy assault. So it's threatening to walk through, especially in tight corners. As I say that, down goes Nectar. Mello doing exactly what I'm discussing. Hulk is great in these tight quarters, knocking people away into a wall and proceeding to keep that damage forward. Well done again by Scatter. Does fall there, though, early on, keeping the team, or excuse me, by Craze there. Amazing now finally getting this space back. They do already have this corner with a ton of time on the clock, though.
Yeah, Rye going out with the bubble, making sure he can win in the sky against the Invisible Woman's shield alongside that torch, but it's a 1v1 Supernova up. He has to go to somebody else, though, to get value out of it, and unfortunately for Rye, he's the focus right now, so he has to just stay alive. Crimzo, though, set up the Eye of Agamotto on the main side.
Yeah, does not find too much. He does land on a few. Amazing does get the follow-up there on the Craze, and that's going to be one down, but it landed on a few, just wasn't able to completely follow. Amazing going to take out a Madian right back, so that is going to be, more beneficial for their side as they do have to respawn. Again with another pick here. Great fallback as a team, or great push forward, excuse me, as a team to find a few more to force the stagger.
A huge pick off from Rye. This is the problem, though, with Nemesis, is they have 2 minutes left to go. Sentinels, if they win this next fight, that's momentum back in their favor, even if we move into the third phase of the map. I think this composition doesn't do as well in the third phase, and Nectar might turn online. So right now, Nectar has the final judgment. Right, they'll get stunned on the backside. Rather gets immobilized by that. Hulk also has to back away. He's deleted again. Oh, no. This has been awful from Crash so far.
Yeah, Nemesis holding on to 5 ultimates here. Sentinels with 3, but Techie still getting value through it. Down goes Craze again. That pick has been happening more than I'm sure they would like on the side of Nemesis, who now have in, 2-3 fight territory max with teleport with 124 on the clock, and they're just getting locked in. This is defensible position here. Sentinels holding on to 3 ultimates, working their way to 5 with Amazing and Crimzo, likely getting it within this next fight. Nemesis got to get some picks here quickly to make this happen for them. Mello going to use that supernova as I discuss it. Techie going to eat some of those hurricanes and throw it right back, the tornadoes, excuse me, right back at them. Not much value there, and here comes the last stand, forcing them down into off angles.
Yeah, this is great evasion of the final judgment, and Kraz also goes towards that cart, caps it as well. So perfectly played by Nemesis. That's what you want to see out of this team if you're a fan of them.
Yeah, and Nemesis is still holding on to those ults. It's been slightly too long. I think they kind of waited some stuff out there, which was good, but you got to press forward. I guess they wanted to discuss one fight, one win situation here, as Amazing already, again, ready to use these tornadoes to keep the team back and own this space. Hulk trying to take it, but no, not able to do so. Forced off towards the point. Scatter does have this Eye of Agamotto. This is a great position to use it. You can take that height off the left and drop in with the eye a little more unsuspectingly, but they're going to have to hold the point here shortly as 20 seconds are left here for Nemesis. Here comes the play. Eye of Agamotto with bubble. Very difficult to counter that, and they are going to force out an ultimate. Great, honestly, really good reaction time, but down goes Dinks as Amazing turns that right back at him, and here comes the eye in return, and it does find a few, but will they get picks off? Vidalco Crystals. Nectar falls from Ricky. Nemesis is going to potentially push through this, but they are losing this space.
I mean, they had the fit of the world, yeah, able to run down this back line, and here comes a Madian on the high ground. Kraz also towards that objective is going to be able to get healed up as well, so they regained that momentum. Sentinels a little bit too far forward, not finding enough value off of their Eye of Agamotto, results in them kind of losing this fight slowly. Aramori going to get staggered up by Kraz, and right now in overtime, they do it. They move on to third phase, but again, I'm worried because I just feel like compositionally right now, Nemesis, for every 3 fights they lose, they only can win 1 right now, so they're going to have to string them together in this third phase. It's going to be very hard versus Nectar because he's kind of struggled on the second phase of the map. So imagine what happens when the map gets more open against Flyers.
Goes to show you what I know. I thought they were holding those ults for a little too long, but really just committed to 1 fight, and it worked out for him. A minute on here, though, and this is a defensible position early on. You're going to try to take this fight in this alleyway because it does give you a little bit of an advantage defensively. Nectar shoving in here immediately with the final judgment. Does it get 1? No. But it does break that shield, allowing Techie to take out Scatter. Great play again by Techie, and good communication here by Sentinels as we are starting to see some more Qs pop. Nemesis holding on to Craze, and that should be it within this next fight.
I mean, you still have some delay coming out from Kraz. Nectar able to get blasted down, but the healing is just too much. The strategist keeping him alive, doing a great job. Sentinels also having to commit that copy. Kraz is going to go down. Oh, no, he lives. 1 HP on the left side, comes back to the team. They have strategist ults to re-engage with, though, as Rye stares off in the distance looking for whoever's in the sky, and looks like it's Mello.
Yeah, Mello over here with the Ultron bot. Great Eye of Agamotto to find that value out of the sky, take him down, but the dance floor is out to counter that. Dinks, good positioning there. Here comes the Ultron trying to make something happen. Scatter following up as down goes Aramori. Crystals not going to find any value there. Popped through it as they do fall early, and we do have ultimate advantage once again on the side of Nemesis as Ricky's holding on to that invisible boundary. Will it be enough to push them deep into point 3, or will they get caught here as Amazing doing a great job owning this height, dancing, using that juke. There's the escape there. If you're getting hit by hit scan, you do have that almost get out of jail free card. Nectar gonna pop this with the bubble, and now the invisible boundaries popped, and they find so much value through it as 5 fall. It's gonna force them into final fight territory.
Yeah, that's huge out of Team Nemesis. They did cost them a few ultimates, but regardless, played so well. Does Scatter have the portal up, by the way, for the portal block, or what's going on here? It looks like he was or did. something might have happened, or if he's doing it right now. I didn't hear the sound effect. Looks like they're able to get out, though. So Sentinels coming back through. Do have that Jeff to get back, as well as some speed boosts. Ultimate available for Techie in just the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they didn't have the time or weren't feeling comfortable with it prior to somebody getting out and maybe taking some space or positioning to scare him a little bit. Techie goes up with the meteor, landing down. Ooh, not able to do it. Good shield invis there. Shows you that millisecond reaction time. Mello gets 2 with the dive. Right, Amazing turns it on to Scatter. Immediate and Diggs, and this could be enough to take point 3. Will they come back? Nemesis looking really good as another. They do get all 3. Nemesis pushing through with 1 minute on the start of that fight.
A woman as well has been doing pretty solid. Meanwhile, portal play off the map setting up now for Scatter. We'll see if it works out. 5 seconds left to go. Crimzo on Doctor Strange as well. We'll see if they are even thinking about the potential portal play, because there's so much to think about as a pro player. So the counter portal is going to come through, or just off the map right now as everybody's under it. Oh no! Bye. See you later. Wait, who was that? Was that a Luna? Wait, it was Luna Snow, wasn't it? Shouldn't she be gone? Where'd she go?
I believe he was floating, although it didn't look like he was. He managed to have a slight jump. They're kind of tricking them into using that defensive portal. They were able to jump right around it. So wow, what?
Can you stand on the portal?
You can if you're hovering. I believe he might have been hovering slightly. I'm not 100% sure, but just, or maybe the portal was placed a little bit off. I'm not 100%
it was
sure.
Krakoa. Krakoa definitely went through that portal. Because we saw Krakoa in the spawn. So definitely something happened there. I mean, I want to watch that back. Definitely clip that. Krakoa's still dead anyway, regardless, as Dinks has the follow-up on a Crimzo. So Nectar swapped to the Bucky, not enabling them to find too many picks, although they're able to connect onto a few more targets here as Sentinels kind of create some space. But yeah, I mean, Nemesis right now, first hold, first kind of counterplay coming out from Scatter, worked out. 1 minute off the clock now. Sentinels, no ultimates built up either, so it was a really rough fight for them as they regroup and stagger Nectar too. Oh no, that's so bad.
Yeah, Nemesis is just playing very calm. I said this prior. They're looking like a different team right now in these fights, where before it was like every ult was matched immediately. They are just playing patient, finding value, and then slowly letting the fights extend while they're up in numbers so that they can get those picks later on and force staggers out by just making these fights last a while. So I like what I'm seeing here from Nemesis, which is why they selected this map.
Yeah, walking up right now, Sentinels kind of do have the counter to go, but an Canadian comes in. Ultron's range just going aggressive, forcing away Sentinels, who actually do a good job sort of playing around that corner, ducking back around. Now re-engaged and enabled for them to come back through. Sentinels have some sort of ultimate advantage after he used it, although Ultron builds up those ultimates quickly. Supernova from Mello is here, and everybody's stuck inside, so they're going to have to counter with a Strategist ultimate soon.
Yeah, that's a terrifying position to be in when you see that Supernova, but they do get walked out there with the bond, and we see Dinks popping ult to counteract that. Ricky holding on to an invisible boundary should they need it. Agamotto gets popped. Scatter and Mello going to take out two. Another huge eye here. Well done, Strange. In this tournament, these eyes of Agamotto, they're not getting frozen immediately. They are finding value. Scatter again. Well played by Nemesis, and now we are at 1 minute and 30 with no ticks on the point.
Yeah, I might have spoke too soon talking about Sentinels getting out of the playoff or getting into the playoffs as the first seed, as Nemesis looked formidable at the current moment. Doing a great job holding. Maybe can turn this back into a reverse sweep if they win this to put themselves in the #1 seed for the playoffs on Thursday next week, or rather this week because it's already Sunday. So right now, Sentinels have ultimates coming into it. Nemesis did use a lot last fight, but Melo's coming up on yet another Supernova, and there's no Strategist ultimates to counter it.
Yeah, roughly even across the board here. Sentinels using that Supernova immediately just to try to take that space and just to kind of use like a visual clutter wall, as we see Amadian now popping that Ultron, trying to, turn that back at him, does force him back in there. It's essentially a counteract ultimate there, defensive ultimate. Mello now with a ton of hurricane or tornadoes, and there is going to be a 1 as we lose Techie on the offense, and that is a huge pick, losing the Magneto in the defensible positioning of that bubble. Right, Amazing goes down. 40 seconds on the clock. Crimson still gets one onto Amadian, but will it be enough as they did force ultimates after losing numbers? That's a difficult position to be in, as now Nemesis has nothing. Sentinels do have multiple ultimates, and they are going to walk back in here, and it looks like this might be in their favor.
Yep, Krakoa, nice shots from him as well. Connects onto the high ground. Here comes the Hulk back into Monster Hulk form. Does have the ultimate available. Meanwhile, Nectar Goes for that hook, not able to find it. Hasn't been able to use the Kraken impact necessarily just yet, but here comes Dinks, aggressive with the Fate of the Worlds. You know they'll all be here. We'll see when Nectar wants to pop this. Oh, Avagamoto is here from Scatter to slow him down, and they actually connected to multiple people with the damage boost. That's so much downrange. Nectar is what had to back up, and he got smoked by Hulk. Removed over time. Now ticks down. Sentinels surely going to lose this one unless something else happens from Amazing. Nemesis, they might have turned this series on its head as they win their first map in this best out of 5. Play around that hero, play around their Human Torch, but without that Ultron. So we'll see if that changes things for Sentinels. It's these small changes that kind of matter in terms of the macro of this series, right?
Being everything. And once again, the one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is you do see now on the opposite side with Sentinels, there's a pocket on that torch. It's going to make it more difficult, although Invis is still in for Ricky to help out with Mello. We'll see which pocket is better with the drone or with the shield as we begin this first fight. Right, Amazing holding that off angle. Nectar going to put a ton of damage down on to the front line of Craze. And that is not going to be enough to get the pick early, but they're going to reset up here on height.
Chilling at the current moment. Nemesis sort of surrounding the objective. And, oh my gosh, Mello goes really low. Passive proc. Oh my god, what a save from Kraz. Are you kidding me? He has to back up, but what an immobilization of that torch in the sky from Kraz. Saved his Human Torch because he doesn't have drone. He's not going to get healed up too consistently. Only had that passive to stay alive. Meanwhile, now Nectar's on the back foot. It's Amazing, the one on that Ultron. Nectar gets the better in the sky onto Mello.
Yeah, that's that infinite value you can get with the lockdown from Hulk. That exile can be, you know, so impactful when you land it at the right time. Nectar gonna follow up Krakoa onto a Madian, and that is gonna be an early Sentinels take here on a map that they may be favored at.
I felt like, honestly, this is the change that Sentinels needed. I mean, the fact they put Nectar over to the Human Torch. Rai is a great Human Torch player, but having Rai on Ultron, Nectar on the Human Torch, I think is something that Sentinels can play around, right? Nectar is an incredibly good Human Torch player, Ultron as well, but maybe that swap is what they need. I mean, Rai maybe more traditionally known as that hit scan player. Usually Nectar plays that Psylocke, plays some of those divey characters as well, but right now for Nectar, this is that change that I think Sentinels needed to get back in the driver's seat. Nemesis, though, switch to full res composition, running that Adam Warlock alongside the Mantis and the Cloak and Dagger.
Crimzo trying to own this space. Does have Eye ready. Ultimate advantage here for Sentinels. We begin this fight. Amazing going to initiate here with Ultron's Rage. Doesn't find much as we do lose bonds on both sides. Out goes Eternal. Do we see any pick here? A lot of the time you'll see these cloaks go right into cloak form after that ult because they know the healing is out. They don't need to worry about it. Instead, they try to find a pick. A Madian onto Nectar. Amazing onto Ricky. Back and forth again as Sentinels are holding on at 55%.
Yeah, but the res is coming through. I mean, that's tough to deal with. And Ricky came back through. Soul Resurgence, shields down. Oh my god, what a snipe from Techie. But it's into a player who can just self-res himself. So Mello's going to be back in the fight. Kraz gets one of the Amazing while the Galactic Legend is coming through from a Madian. And right now we're seeing the value of triple res. Picks came through from Sentinels, but it was just one. It was just one into one into one. And it was every character that can get brought back. Right now, Sentinels head back to the spawn. Team Nemesis, this could be the change that they needed, is playing triple res alongside. Now Mello has that ultimate. I feel like this is an easier map to get the Resurrect off on the Adam Warlock, but Sentinels, you know, they do have ultimates coming up. Supernova is amazing. It's a big ultimate as well, and Mello could be hunted down.
First time we have seen Warlock today with a res comp. It is a problem. We know Sentinels can do it too, so we'll see if that gets matched out. Doesn't need to be happening yet as they're 79% here for Sentinels. They are going to start taking this space. You talk about the flyers of Amazing and Nectar. Both being able to do it is a huge advantage. A lot of the time the teams are running a flyer and somebody who runs hit scan almost exclusively as like kind of the talent lineup, but both of them being able to get out here, provide that height and damage as Techie finds Ricky early, but that could be a res available as we know Warlock res is available from Mello as well. Who, you know, a lot of time we see that hit scan go on to Warlock, and here comes the initiation. Amazing on a Dinks, Krakoa on a scatter, but here's the reses as they all come back into the fight.
Yeah, all coming back indeed, but they're immediately going to fall. Unfortunately, to split up towards the point. Well, Kraz actually was the one to go down, so he'll have to come back. They do Soul Bond. They come back out with the Soul Resurgence. Can they find those eliminations? Nectar goes down.
Yeah, and a reset again as point goes back towards Sentinels' favor. 87% here, keeping the space, and out goes that Legend. But yeah, Madian gonna find Amazing after the res. Make that two as Krakoa goes down. Do I see three? Holding it to 99. Ooh, trying to use that. I don't know if I agree with it that early, but maybe it was already transformed, so you just kind of, you know, you have to use it at that point.
Yeah, tough situation for Armory to be in, committing it early, but you have to on low-key, right? Because you don't want to get picked off. So right now, Team Nemesis, No ultimates, right? They just used everything in the previous fight. They do have the Hulk ready to go, but it's against Sentinels. Both Vanguards. You talked about earlier how important these Vanguards have been for at least Nemesis on their side. We saw Scatter and Kraz kind of do some crazy combos. Maybe Crimzo and Techie have it in their banks as well. They do have Strangling Prison, which is one of the best ultimates in the game. Self-res is now available as well for Mello and Ricky in a moment, as I believe those timers are coming up online. Hulk forced to use the ultimate early, just trying to disrupt the backline, potentially help a dive coming out, but with the Soul Bond, he's able to stay in there for a little bit longer and take down Rye. No way.
Yeah, that's good focus and great ultimate usage. We've seen Krays just pop off here on Hulk, which, you know, it may be a little more, you know, just more difficult to find value with that ultimate. It's a lot of focus and it's a lot of just combination, using that knockback into an immediate jump to grab him out of the sky and follow up with another knockback. Outside of it, they usually just get healed right back up. Nectar finds Ricky, Amadian onto Armori, back and forth again as Nectar finds Mello. Krays man got a Karova and Scatter onto Nectar. It's just back and forth at 99.
Yeah, these picks don't matter, though. I mean, it's two characters that now have that cooldown up to res, so Portal's going to have to come through from Sentinels if they want a chance to really win this. At least the people coming back from spawn, though. I mean, they have some portals, right? Karova has it, so he can't even teleport, and now everybody's kind of coming through, and they're just going to have to give it up and go next round.
And then you've got Warlock's Bond, so it just does really shut down that dive back and forth. It's just a great comp to run into this dive, for sure.
Coming back into it, 23 seconds before the point unlocks. Stunned Sentinels slowing it down currently, right? Karova does have the ultimate available, but it's going to be into Scatter with the Meteor M. Nemesis, though, they have so many ults to work around. Here comes the meeting with the blasters, gets bubbled early and just finds Karova early on. Oh no, that's one of the crucial ultimates they needed. No greens there in time for Maramori. They're going to have to copy at least one of the members of Team Nemesis, which is, in this case, a Mantis. So they just get the Soul Resurgence, arguably one of the worst, you know, Stratus ultimates in the game. Strangling Prison's there. The follow-up is there as well from Nectar and Amazing, so it didn't end up mattering. They're able to take full advantage, but the res for Mello up top, right? They're all together as a unit, healing up. Also, Soul Bond available in just a moment. They come back through with their own Soul Resurgence. Nobody is here just yet. Unfortunately, Karova just shows up now, but the point is in favor of Team Nemesis. You have Mello on the left side trying to get that one shot. Does not connect. Terror Cape as well on the backside, but the follow-up damage from Sentinels is unfortunately not there. Nectar trying to find more, but Amadian again, now in the Galactic Legend in the sky, not able to, or sorry, Sentinels not able to react to it as the greens not there in time to save anybody, and Team Nemesis fully advantaged right now.
That positioning on Mello's res was game-changing, holding on to the point when they already capped it with a great spot on the top left behind wall, brings the team back in to retake the point. They're at 43 and still have Krays with ult and should have Scatter soon, so just a great sweep. Goes to show you that Warlock is still no joke, nothing to be messed with, especially when this full res comp is on the table.
Yep, Nectar looking around knowing there's a Hulk back there, but the surround from Nemesis. This is what what Sentinels were doing earlier, or rather Nemesis was doing earlier with the Psylocke and Captain America, doing it yet again with Kraz on the back line. Supernova available from Nectar. Oh, just falls over to Ricky. I mean, that's just unbelievable. The greens were not there in time yet again. Unfortunately, a common occurrence for this team. Strangling Prison's here, but is the damage not there? The follow-up damage from Rye finally gets one reset. Can he get another one? Dives onto one, finds two. Kraz trades it back on the back. No res as well for Mello. He's going to go down. And again, with the Kraken impact, Rye Amazing able to get three, make it four. Rye closes it out. They did use, on top of that, the Eternal Bond. Team Nemesis sent back to spawn. Hulk stagger as well, because unfortunately, they already flipped the point.
Yeah, they're just going to wait this thing out now, buying as much time as possible. He's going to head right towards that window. Smart play there as the team's going to have to reset. Probably not going to try to get the pick there. Nice, Nectar. It's going to give alt charge. A lot of the time you want to try to jump off or use that grenade from Bruce there to force yourself off so it does not go towards the enemy side. But still, good stagger there for the side of Sentinels to try to get some of this percentage back. 84% on the side of Nemesis.
Sentinels need to come back in this fight, right? Losing this map would be terrible. Also, Nemesis look a lot better in Hell's Heaven today. Walking in now with that Soul Resurgence, they create a little bit of space. They walk in as well with their Soul Bond, committing the greens, and then Karova's ultimate is Sentinels. They have to react quickly. If they react too slowly, the damage boost can kind of put you on the back foot. Dinksto in the back line, still available with his Terror Cape. It creates a lot of space for Team Nemesis. I mean, No Strider's ultimate's also available. Karova's going to go down. Aramori, unfortunately, doesn't have ultimate just yet, so everybody else just gets mopped up for Team Nemesis as they, with their cooldowns, able to create so much space on the Sentinels. They couldn't even react, and 90% on the board right now. I mean, Crimzo's getting staggered. He had Strangling Prison. I mean, Portal's going to come through from Nectar now. It's desperation for Sentinels.
My, oh my, has the tides turned? Nemesis in every single one of these fights, taking it home. Going to be on, at least so far, the Hela, and that is a different change here that's what they've been running the last few matches.
Man, hold Jalia, I think that's a solid.
Them alt charge, try to turn that around on them by playing smart, but there is a ton of mines there. You don't want to play that game when there's that many lined up, but you can kind of play ahead of that and try to find some value in reverse rather than just getting cleaned up by that lineup.
And I'm sure that there's like 3 nerds looking out there like, why are you showing that? I can't believe you would show my kid in tech when like everybody does it. It's like literally like everybody and their mother does it at this point. Like I literally know my mom will log on the game and do it and get a free elimination. It's that easy. But regardless, Team Nemesis gonna lock on that Star-Lord, which is interesting, alongside Mellow on the Human Torch. It's just to have the opportunity, I suppose, to flex back over to the triple res. Meanwhile, Sentinels, they do like Crimzo on that Captain America. That's why they protected it. And Nectar, like you mentioned, Shiv, gonna have him on that Hela. But Mellow, I mean, he's gonna be so hard to hit. And he also has the Luna Snowflake as well, but Kraz out of Hulk form. Didn't see in the kill feed, but did go down, or a KO feed. Is Kraz gonna fall? Everybody has to reset now once that Hulk is removed.
Yeah, typically when you see Star-Lord, it's either you're running res or you're running that Magneto bubble comp, and your job is to just all off cooldown as fast as possible. So that's what we're seeing here. But Sentinels cleaning up everyone, sending them back to the spawn door slowly but surely. Great positioning, great first fight. Nemesis gonna have to bounce back here. I wonder if we'll see any changes. Probably not yet, as no alts have been launched. But yeah, actually, we do see a Madian make that switch immediately over to Hela instead of that Star-Lord for the spin to win.
Ooh. That should be fun. We get the matchup again between Nectar and a Madian. Haven't seen Nectar play too much Hela so far. It's usually Rye whenever that character is unbanned, but also, you know, in old Sentinels gameplay, they would ban Hela first. So nowadays, Hela's still strong, but Flyers tend to have their sort of counterplay just by, you know, hovering around angles, playing around walls. Meanwhile, Team Nemesis, they're going to walk into this left side. Walls being broken for a Madian, kind of playing without the team. Going to come in late to maybe find this rotate as Sentinels get collapsed upon. Team Nemesis sort of rotating all the way around. You can see that angle by Madian and Main being so annoying. Just looking for that Hela on the backside as Madian actually loses a shot, has to go get to the health pack, so he's slowed down. Meanwhile, for Sentinels, they're sort of hard controlling this point. 2 minutes is already off the clock. They have the Captain American ultimate from Crimzo, forcing out Dinks and his ult, but Mello's already able to find one. I mean, unfortunately, Nectar losing out on the high ground. Didn't have the team to support him. Bubbles coming through. Nectar could swap to Dr. Strength, but he's not going to. They come back, force out Invisible Boundary. Here comes the Meteor over the high ground. Does it connect into a bubble? Mello on the opposite side able to find Aramori. So through these ultimate, Sentinels unfortunately losing member after member. They need to find something out of this Supernova, but it's met by Scatter and his Meteor M to counter it. So the point fully in control of Team Nemesis. No Dr. Strange portals either. A Madian kind of zoning out with the Goddess of Death. They're going to wait it out. Maybe have somebody touch last second. It's going to be Crimzo to be there on Sentinel's side to delay a little bit longer. Shield comes out to save the Hela. Has to dive to the high ground. Here comes Nectar in the high ground. Does get one on the back. Dink goes down also into the Invisible Boundary. Nice support job there from Aramori. And into the sky, Nectar's looking for Mello, but it's Karova to find the final hit. Dropping to the ground is that body, the Ragdoll. And everybody else now from Team Nemesis gets sent back to the spawn with a minute left.
What a retake and what good patience by Aramori. A lot of the time when you come in as a strat and you see your team almost losing that point, you just launch it. Aramori, patient, waiting until it got the most value until the very end there when the team was looking dangerous and used all their cooldowns, and then popping that boundary. Allowed the team to stay up as they have found Kraz over on the right angle, trying to, you know, play off the backside. Is going to be found out there and run after by Crimzo, who does almost have that ultimate. Sentinels, it's the final fight here. Can they hold on? On point one, but Mello, that early pick on Arai is massive for Mello, who now is giving their team a slight advantage in this next fight, which could be their final fight to take this first point.
Yeah, what a read by Mello now coming in over the top. Here comes a freedom charge on the back side, and Nemesis, they don't have anything to react to it except that opening pickoff that they got. Crimzo kind of just doing all he can to force ultimates out. Here comes Ricky with the Invisible Boundary. Very defensive. Pulled back in as well on Crimzo, so huge support job from Ricky, but unfortunately not able to find the elimination. Now on the point side, Nemesis still looking for that final tick. They're getting engaged upon by Karova with a dance floor as Dinks pops his own. 1-to-1 Scatter in the sky with the Meteor M. Can he find elimination? It's a Madian to do so. Amazing trying to counter it on the backside. Unfortunately cannot do it. Goddess of Death in the sky as well, so much damage downrange now. Meteor M to counter the Goddess of Death. And the bubble again from Scatter. So right now, Nemesis' Vanguards putting an absolute carry job online as Nemesis cap out the point in overtime.
Yeah, Nemesis, great job there, finding value with the ult and still holding on. Patient. Mellow didn't have to use it. Craze didn't have to use it. And they still get 2 more picks to stagger the team on point 2. So that is a great fight. Final fight there. Good patience. An incredible bubble. Defensive utilization of cooldowns. Shutting down massive things like Techie, who had to launch that ult just a little bit too early, unfortunately, to shut down the strat line. So well played across the board by Nemesis again. Shoving through point 1. And now are going to try to use this momentum to take the W and win this series against Sentinels. Will they keep this going?
2 minutes left. Mello pops the supernova onto the... Oh, right! No! An unfortunate redirection into the sky on his face. The supernova wasn't even intended for him, but it didn't matter. He's gonna fall. So is the rest of his team. Crimzo as well. I mean, wait, Kraz also committed the freedom charge. I don't know how necessary it was, but regardless, Nemesis going to the spawn camp. I mean, finding staggers is one to Aramori. Oh no, the streaks phase. We talked about it earlier, Shib, how brutal it's been for a lot of professional teams to even find some semblance of momentum here. Crimzo coming into touch though. He's going to be here with the bubble as well, but so much damage, so many people looking towards him. Eventually he'll fall. And oh wait, invisible boundaries here, but oh no, Techie's going to fall. So now missing both vanguards. They're trying to sustain in the Stratus ultimates, but once they're over, I worry for Sentinels in the streets phase.
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult point to shut through this quickly, and Nemesis just gets it done. What? Wow, that was insane teamwork. Really well played. Way to stagger through everyone. That is the key. You got to refight as a team. They try to get back there and lost their vanguards on point, just trying to hold on. The strat all came out a little bit too late, unfortunately, and they just kind of walked through them at that point. It was just a matter of when that boundary fell, the team would fall after, and Sentinels got to get their feet under them here as they have 2 ults compared to Nemesis 1 on this next fight.
2 minutes left. Far rotate coming in from Sentinels. I mean, that's all the way around the map. They do have Crimzo to stall, and that's the rotate they made. I mean, it's such a clean rotate from them. That's what Sentinels is so good at, making those unconventional long rotations around the map. Scatter got picked off as well. Rye onto Kraz. Both vanguards removed, and it's beautiful right now. Absolutely clinical from Sentinel's side as the staggers eventually come out. 1 minute and 50 seconds left now. Nemesis have to regroup.
Yeah, good fight there by Sentinels. I think it kind of got their confidence back, looked more aggressive, didn't have to burn too much. Going to even out in ults here. Amazing, very close as well to getting that supernova. We're going to check out this next fight, but it is more difficult, like I said, for Flyers with Hella on the field. But out of everyone in the sky, Johnny is the one that can avoid that hit scan the most. A ton of escapability and just that natural juke. We had the conversation route using that melee in the sky. It does make you very difficult to land headshots on as your head and body are constantly contorting in weird positions. Just a really good movement technique. And here we go in the sky with a Meteor M. Does find Nectar out of the sky, believe. That's crazy. Good fight there as they continue the space forward. Scatter finds Aramori. It's another pick up for Nemesis on the attack. And they're going to continue pressing forward as Sentinels or just have this dance floor and nothing else.
Yeah, it seems to be enough right now for Team Sentinels. I mean, they're able to kind of push back Team Nemesis. Oh, Kraz again, just a little bit late on the backside with the ultimate, but they're able to find Karova. Everybody else here towards the point, Goddess of Death as well, is enough to send back Sentinels back towards the spawn.
I mean, Captain America finding 3 after that ult, which I thought was just a slight bit late, is going to be enough for them to push forward and act like they won that fight prior to any of those issues. So well done there by Kraz, who just kind of used that momentum and popped off on Cap, said on your left, and just walked through the enemy team as they go into final fight territory. We do have this Goddess of Death up for Nectar. We do have Aramori ready with the invisible boundary. Same with Ricky. Let's see who gets this done on nearly the final fight.
Ready to go, playing it slow. Nemesis walks on in. The Nectar, again, just looking for those shots, like you mentioned. Goddess of Death, a lot of body shots into him. Unfortunately, not going to be able to find the elimination, but here he comes into the sky, met by the Meteor M from Scatter, and they delete him out of the Hella form. Yeet into the back line, not able to find the elimination. Boundary towards the carpet. They've already lost Aramori and Nectar. Oh no! Aramori's ultimate is unfortunately all for naught as she goes down. Nemesis wiped the entire floor of Sentinels in overtime. You do have Crimzo to deal with, but what a play from Team Nemesis, able to walk in with their ultimates and secure the final point against Sentinels.
Again, but it is a very defensible 3rd point. So this, like I said, Nemesis, they are looking up. I'm sure they're feeling confident. I'm sure the comms are getting a little bit hesitant as they're shaking a little bit, chasing their way to try to get the top seed and get ever closer to that 70K from the first start. So here we go with a nice off angle here from Rye Amazing, taking that positioning in building, deciding against it. Going to get in the line of the strats as Cap plays that assault from the left side. And here we go with our first fight. We do have Magneto holding that positioning forward there for the side of Techie. Techie, obviously a very mean Magneto, gets a ton of value with that left click. Ultimates are gaining on both sides. Right now, Aramori in the lead. Amazing finds a Madian. Mello onto Techie. Traded again, but that is going to be a Vanguard for a Duelist. Which do you find more value with? I do not know. It all depends on this next fight.
All matters for sure coming into this upcoming fight. 3 minutes left now. Team Nemesis still sitting pretty good. I mean, Sentinels trying to set up their rotations, trying to set up their flanks. Right, amazing in the main side. Now, Mello's understanding where he is, still sitting above the point, right, just kind of chucking those fireballs. But right at the moment, right, Nemesis just kind of playing back on their side, comfortable to sort of force away the side of Sentinels, and they're doing so again, just walking up, creating a little bit of space. Ultimate's almost built for both Luna Snow players alongside Invisible Boundary, but Ricky's a little bit later with his Armory. Has theirs early because they took so much Vanguard damage early on without going down. Here comes a Madian over the top side, trying to find an elimination onto his Squishy, but has to crow away. Understand Crimzo is there. Shots again coming from Nectar. It's tough to hit that Human Torch in this guy. I mean, he's just so evasive. Now they come in with a dive. Kraz goes in. Madian's going to fall on the opposite side. Rye Amazing's able to get the one shot. And unfortunately, the Strategist Ultimate's a little bit too late. Rye still in here. Also has the Supernova. So, Scatter shuts down Karova. Invisible Boundary. I mean, that can't save you, Karova. Unfortunately, needed a bit of a shield there from your Magneto. But now Nemesis, they back up. They also have portals from Madian coming through, so they'll have man advantage in a moment. But the yeet from Techie shuts down Dinks. Supernova as well from Mello in the sky, though. They'll have the teleporter advantage. The Goddess of Death in the sky is trying to get some value, but it's blocked by the Doctor Strange. Rye Amazing able to find Tricky. And Nectar, no way, at the very last second found two onto both the Madian and Mello. So with those two eliminations, I don't know if they can even do it with the portal up.
Yeah, no, that was too much right there. Gonna have to force reset. We'll see if the Strange Portal comes in, but I don't think it even has time to spike the switch, so not gonna be seeing that. Well done by Nectar. We haven't seen a ton of value with the Goddess of Death in the sky in this tournament, but that was everything for point one, as Sentinels are gonna ride this momentum with 4 minutes on the clock. They need to show up here on point two. Point two being very defensible like we discussed. This needs to be a fast push if they want enough time to push through point three. We've seen the sweeps in ladder. You understand that sometimes you sweep through, the enemy figures something out, and they do it right back. This could be the case. What a game we have on our hands as Nemesis wants to showcase they are a top team, and Sentinels wants to show that they are going to remain a top team as we go into our final few minutes of this match.
Ryan trying to take out that Captain America, forcing him away. Now Mello over the top side. Kind of just takes that 1v1, so both of these Captain Americas dealing with each other on the outside, but nobody really creating too much space. However, it's Crimzo on the backline, actually. Just kidding, as he's dove already early onto Ricky, though they trade back Nectar. Doesn't matter. I mean, they've lost Scatter as well. So right now, Nemesis is just getting dismantled. They do commit an ultimate, the Goddess of Death, and it's actually from a pretty good distance as both strategists fall, so they trade it back. And unfortunately, the advantage Sentinels have created, it seems like they lose immediately.
Yeah, I think that was a surprising fight. I didn't expect it to turn out like that. It kind of seemed a little back and forth. Still going to be kind of held at this point as Nemesis is owning the height here. Mel, this is a good defensible position for flyers around this cover. A lot of the cover can be broken, but not the height that you can take. So it works well for something like Torch. There is that natural touching point up there that you can kind of stand on should you need more hiding. Nemesis with Crazeman going to find Karova early. Mello going to win that 1v1 with the help of the bubble and the Invis pocket. Very difficult to win that when you have that kind of cover. Cray's going to take out Nectar, and Techie goes down too as they're just staggering the rest of the team. Goodbye, Aramori.
And this is what we talked about on Araco, that went wrong for Nemesis, right? They were losing multiple fights in a row. Sentinels now losing 2 in a row in the Streets phase. 2 minutes left to go. I mean, they need to win desperately, but even if they were to win one here, the cart is in such a weird spot, they might have to fight again, especially without that Doctor Strange portal to block the spawns. It's going to be difficult for Sentinels to snowball this into the third phase of the map, but they do have every single ultimate. Kraz has to commit the Freedom Charge early, does get counter engaged as well, with a Supernova and the dance floor committed by Sentinels, but it's met with a Meteor M. Will it find anybody? It's blocked by both the Vanguards. It was blocked by the Captain America and the Magneto. Now, Rye Amazing and crew walking up forward. Understanding they have a pretty big advantage in terms of ultimates. Force the dance floor out early from the side of Crimzo. Supernova here. Meteor M to counter it on top of the Invisible Boundary. But Rye, again, takes down a Madian. Oh no, on the flank. Good job from Rye Amazing in the sky, but he's met by Mello. Scatter trades back Nectar as well, so both of the Hellas are removed. Rye desperately trying to run away. And Team Nemesis, they hold on yet again. This is awful right now for Sentinels as they lost the 3rd fight in a row.
1 minute and a dream here for Nemesis, trying to show up and prove to everyone that they are a team to look out for. Obviously had a ton of success in the past and now are just trying to prove to everyone that they can take a tournament like this home, as Mellow popping off and the entirety of Nemesis is looking really clean on this defensible position. 50 seconds on the clock.
Huge shot from Amadian in the main side as well. They've walked back into his shots many a times. Right now, Nectar has to walk back, right back from spawn. Amazing, taking so many pot shots from Amadian. That's why we see this guy as one of the best tele players in the game. Pops the ultimate early into the backside of Sentinels, who just have to evacuate the location. Is Techie gonna go down as well as wait? Amazing able to find Crash, so that's something. At least you get rid of the Captain America with all those walls removed. So much damage came down range. Also, you can float now on the map. 15 seconds left to go. Sentinels do walk up. Last fight territory now. Nectar does have ultimate ready to go. Amadian just used his. They have nothing on the defensive side. Scatter did just build up the Meteor M, though, to counter Nectar's ultimate potentially, or Rye with the Supernova, but they have to deal with the Vanguards right now. Scatter is just kind of securing this objective, just kind of playing around the payload currently. Here comes Kraz on the backside to at least make sure they're pressured out, but Nectar's there to match him, walks up forward. Do they want to go for this ultimate early? No, they can commit the dance forward to Crimso's Freedom Charge, but oh no, Amadian again takes out Nectar, and now that's a huge ultimate in this fight removed. After that happened, Meteor M comes through, but the bubble's there. Also, the Captain America Freedom Charge to keep him healthy is also here, so that Meteor M not going to find too much as Kraz able to do whatever he wants. Overtime ticks down. It's now or never for Nemesis. The reverse sweep is still possible for them. Scatter misses the Meteor M, unfortunately. Also has to deal with so many fire tornadoes. The invisible boundary keeps him healthy for now. Both teams, I'm sure, are panicking at the current moment, as in last fight territory, no more ults are up. Rye on the flank does take out Amadian, but on the backside, Nectar only finds one. Gets the res on Armori, who just went down, so that's a huge pick from him alongside that resurrect. But oh no, the Vanguards, yet again, Karova and Techie fall. Nobody else is there, and Sentinels get stopped. Nemesis are your #1 seed out of Group B.